Hey everybody, today I'm going to do the simplified Massive Darkness true solo variant that I've created for Quest 3, The Chosen One. So if you haven't already seen it, I have created a video that walks through kind of the differences of the rules that I have for this simplified variant, and I also have a video for the setup. The setup is pretty much the basic thing, but just a little bit of differences, so you can watch those videos if you want. But now let's go ahead and go through this game. So in this video we're playing the Quest 3, The Chosen One. The objectives are to collect all the artifact pieces to assemble an artifact. And the Chosen One hero holding the artifact leaves the dungeon. So all you have to do is you collect these 3 artifacts. Where are they? In this room, and that room, and yes, this one here. You collect those 3 and then go out the exit. Since we're playing true solo, there's only going to be one character, so that is going to be the chosen hero. The flavor text says here, while you're battling against the last monster, a boss sent a goblin courier to call upon reinforcements and all available artifacts. You easily track down the courier until you reach the underground cave network. This place holds a special artifact and is very well protected. The plan is simple. Choose one of the Lightbringers to claim the artifact and trap the garrison in its lair. So as you go and look for the artifacts, these 3 here, when you collect each artifact, you just discard it. But when you've collected all 3 of them, you can draw a random artifact card that you can add to your player. And then you also spawn 2 roaming monsters. One here in this lair token and the other one in this lair place right here. So we're playing in the normal mode, so he has 10 health points, which we'll track here in the XP. And for Elias, his shadow mode skill is attack. He gets +1 BAM, which equates to a unblockable wound. He also has a special skill of Zap, where you roll a yellow dice and then you do wounds for each sword that comes up. We are, the monsters and Elias are starting at level 3, and there's no changing in the levels, so we'll be at level 3, but it is possible for the hero to get level 5 weapons if we find the special treasures. Elias will start with a Wand of Healing, and that's 1 yellow and 1 red die, and then the Scepter, and that's also 1 yellow and 1 red die. We ignore the BAM and diamond effects on the cards. For his armor, he's got chainmail armor, and that's 1 blue and 1 green die. So as we start out, Elias takes his turn. In the simplified variant, he can take 2 actions, and the action can be either an attack or it can be movement, and movement is 2 points. So he can move a total of 4 points, if you will. So in here we have some weapons here. We could go straight and get the artifacts, but I'll go ahead and explore these rooms, because we might get either a special weapon or special treasure for upgrading our weapons, or we might get some health points, like kind of like a potion that we could use later. So we'll have him move 2. So we'll move 1 and then 1 movement point to open a door. So now we need to spawn the doors, or open the door card. Okay, so we can just shuffle up the door cards and draw a random one. And it says no enemy in the first room, and spawn a guard in the second room. Okay, so the guard that we've spawned is the Goblin Archer, and the weapon is the Plague Sword, which is a melee weapon of 2. So I just placed the enemy over here. So we'll find the archer, and the archer in this particular case has 2 minions for each character. Okay, so that is his first action. Now he has a second action. So I will move in. In the simplified variant, he can, on an attack, he can make once per turn, he can have 1 movement and then attack. So he'll move in. The next thing it will do is we will use his special skill, the Zap. Alright, so we get 1 wound to the archers. So we just remove one of those archers. We don't get any XP because we don't use that in this simplified variant. But now we will attack with his 2 weapons. He has 2 yellow and 2 red die. So in addition to his attack die, the Goblin archers have 2 blue die. So let's see what we get. All right. So in this particular variant, BAMs act as an unblockable wound. So we do 1 unblockable wound to the archers, and also, even though they're on defense, they have a BAM and they do 1 unblockable wound to us. So since the archers just have 1 health point, since we did 1 unblockable wound to them, that second archer minion will die, and then for us, we will immediately take 1 hit point right there. Now we can count up the swords. We have 1, 2, 3, 4 swords, and there are 2 shields, so we do a total of 2 more wounds to the archers. So that's enough damage to actually kill that archer right there. So we'll just lay them down because in this variant, the enemy get their attack, even if they were killed. So that concludes the hero phase. So now, just like Massive Darkness, we move to the enemy phase. And in the enemy phase, we have 2 yellow and 1 red for melee, 2 yellow and 1 red for range. So we can choose either to do a range or melee attack. So we'll just assume that they did a range attack here. So they have 2 yellow and 1 red, and our hero has 1 blue and 1 green. So we roll. And we see that they do 1 extra damage against us because we have 1 shield, they have 2 swords. So that brings us to 2 damage. So now we can go ahead and remove that enemy from the board, and we can drop that weapon here so that the hero can pick it up if they want it. It is a melee weapon, so it could be useful to him because we can have we can exchange weapons. So he might pick that up, and we just take the the enemy card off the board. In this variant, there is no experience phase, so we move directly to the event phase. Now, normally you don't draw an event card, but instead, since there's no enemies on the board, we do draw an event card. So we draw the Agent Patrol card. So we need to search the current level deck for an agent and spawn him. Now, for most monsters, we will actually spawn them at the exit. And in this particular case, since we have a door that locks that exit, we would just spawn them right next to that door. But because an agent spawns other monsters, we're going to go ahead and spawn him right next to our current hero on that same tile in the middle of the tile. So the level 3 agent is the Orc agent, and we have drawn the Meteor Scepter as his weapon. Now, fortunately, the Meteor Scepter is a magic weapon, and that Orc agent doesn't have any magic, so he can't really use that to his advantage. But we'll place the Orc agent right here in the middle zone of the current tile. And once again, the reason that we're spawning him here as opposed to the exit is because the agents continually spawn new monsters. Okay, so now it's the hero's turn. So we will attack the agent, but the first thing that we're going to do is pick up this tile and the treasure, and it is no treasure. So we get nothing for that. So the next thing that we'll do is we'll use our special ability, a special skill, and do the zap. So we roll our 1 die, and good, we do 1 wound. Now I'm just going to go ahead and put the wound marker on the enemy card, and he takes 4. He has 4 health points. So now Elias will attack. He is in a shadow zone, so he will get 1 BAM. So he'll do automatically 1 wound. So the Orc agent has a defense of 2 blue and 1 green. We again have 2 yellow and 2 red. So let's see how that goes. Okay, so for a diamond, we do 2 unblockable wounds. They have a BAM, so they do 1 unblockable wound to us. So since we have the shadow zone, we have an automatic BAM, that's 1 wound, and the diamond, that's 2. So we have a total of 3, so we guarantee that we kill that Orc agent. So we'll go ahead and lay down that Orc agent there. And since they have a BAM, they do 1 damage to us. We don't really need to count up the other swords and shields at this point because we already know that we have enough to kill the agent. So let's lower our health by 1. Now it's the enemy turn. Since the orc was killed, he will not spawn, but he will get his chance to attack. So he will move 1, because he's melee, and he will attack with 2 red. Again, we have 1 blue and 1 green defense. Okay, so he does 2 wounds against us, and then we also have a shield against 3 swords, so he does a total of 4 wounds to us. Okay, so let's remove 4 points, and that puts us at a 3. So as you can see, they've kind of attacked us pretty heavily. So this is the reason why we have a healing place with an open door. We will want to come there as quickly as we can. And this is also why we will typically spawn monsters near the exit. So that concludes our enemy phase. So we can just remove the agent from the board and then drop his weapon here. But our hero is not going to pick up that weapon because we already have 2 red. So I'm just going to remove that from the game. Now, since once again there are no more enemies on the board, we will draw an event card. So I'll just shuffle it some and draw 1 event card. And this is a rear monster patrol. Even though it says rear monster patrol, we're going to spawn it at the exit. So we'll spawn a roaming monster at the exit. Since we're playing at level 3, we use a lesser monster, and we drew the Abysmal Demon, so we'll place him here in the center zone of this tile that contains the exit. The weapon that we drew has 2 yellow for melee, and it says it can be used to resolve melee action at range 0 and 1. So we will honor that, but we won't honor the BAM. Okay, so now it's the hero's turn again. The hero can come here and pick up this treasure. Now, there is 1 trap in all the treasures, and a trap is an automatic 2 points of unblockable damage. We are currently having 3 health, so if this is a trap, it's a little risky because I will have only 1 health point left, so I better not get in a fight with any other enemies. So I can come over to the healing place. That's definitely what I'm going to do fairly soon, but I'm going to go ahead and risk it because I think it's not likely that this is a trap, but it could be. So it's his turn. He will take 1 movement and take another movement to pick up this, and it is a normal treasure, so that gives me 2 health points. So that's the first thing I'm going to do, is bring my health back up to 5. Now I take my second action, so I'll, for the first movement point, I will go ahead and pick up this weapon, and then I will move 1 point to the shadow zone. Our backpack is unlimited, so I'll just put the weapon here, and I can exchange for no cost, but I don't need to do that right now. Now it's the enemy phase. I am in a shadow zone, so the monster can't see me, the enemy can't see me, so he will move 2. He tries to attack, then he takes his movement action, so he's moved 2. He still can't see me, so he stops his turn there. Since there are enemies on the board, we skip the event phase. We don't draw any event cards. So now it's the hero's turn again, and so we will just move out. So I will just move 1, 2, 3, 4. Now I could move here and the monster will see me, so he gets to move 4. But I'm going to go ahead and risk it just so that I make some progress there. So now it's the enemy's turn. The enemy tries to attack. They can't, so they move 1, 2. And at this point, the question is, can they attack again? They can't, but the enemy can see me because I'm in a light zone, or they know that I'm down here at least. So they get to move a second time, and they will go 1, 2, and stop there. Since there is an enemy on the board, we skip the event. We don't draw an event card, and so now it's the hero's turn again. So we are trying to get into this healing place as quick as possible. So I will move 2 for my first action, and then 2 for my second action, and now I'm thankfully in a shadow zone. I can't roll a red die this time because I've already used my 2 actions. So now it's the enemy's turn, and they use the normal targeting rules. They first see if there is a hero in range, there's not, and then the next they see if there's a hero in line of sight, which of course there isn't, and then they check to see if there's a hero in the light zone, and he's not, so now he goes towards the starting zone. Now, if in some cases, this is almost an equidistant path going this way or the other way. If there is a case like that, I typically just take a 10-sided die and roll it to see which side I go, or any die. But this is actually a little shorter, so we'll have him move in this direction. So he moves, tries to attack, he can't, so he moves 2, and he cannot see me, so he stops his movement there. In other words, the enemies only take 2 turns if they actually can target the hero. So I'm happy to just kind of let this monster go by while I try to heal up before I go looking for other artifacts or attack other monsters. So for both my actions, I'm going to roll the red die. So first I roll a sword, so nothing happens. And on my second action, I roll again, and I roll a diamond, so that gives me full health. So I'll bump my health marker back up to 10. So that concludes the hero's turn. So now it's the enemy phase again. Again, he tries to attack, moves 2. He cannot see me, so he stops there. Since monsters are on the board, we don't draw an event card, so now it's a hero's turn again. Now I know this monster is going to go toward the start because of Massive Darkness targeting rules, so I'm going to go ahead and come out and open that door. So I'll go 1, 2 on my first action, and for my second action I will start by opening the door. I will stay here to see whether or not I should attack. So I've got one more movement point left if I were to move in, but I actually am going to see if I can maybe attack here, because if an enemy winds up spawning here, I can attack them, because remember, we can take 1 movement point during an attack. So let's see what the door card shows us. Okay, so this door card is an ambush. So we spawn 1 guard right where we are, no enemy in the second room, and this is a 3 zone room, so we actually do spawn a second guard. So the enemies that we spawn is I spawn Goblin Warriors with a Javelin here as the ambush, and then Orc Enforcers with an Ice Axe in this 3rd room. Now I tend to put the enemies just kind of in order so I know to activate them in the order that they were spawned. So since this is an ambush, I can't really attack them with magic in this zone because I've already used my 1 point. I do have an extra point, but then I couldn't do an attack. I can only do 1 movement for my attack here. So what I'm going to use is I'm going to use a zap, and then I'm going to change my weapon, and then attack with the melee weapon that I picked up earlier. Okay, so let's do the zap. Alright, so we get 2 swords, so we do 2 points of damage. That's enough to take out 1 of the Goblin Warriors, the minion. I'll go ahead and remove the minion from the board. Next, I'll just go ahead and exchange one of the magic weapons for the Plague Sword, which has 2 yellow. Now the Goblin Warriors have a defense of 3 blue. In our roll, thankfully, they don't have any BAMs. There is 1 shield that they roll against 1 sword, but I have a second sword, so we do 1 more point of damage. So we'll just assign 1 damage to the card, and that concludes the hero's turn. Oh, but I almost forgot. Since I'm in a shadow zone, I do have attack 1 BAM, so I get 1 extra wound. So that actually is enough to kill the Goblin Warriors. And that actually is one of the reasons why I switched over to this simplified variant, because trying to keep up with the skill sheets and looking in so many different places to find out what even one particular attack was just hard to maintain. So I almost forgot that shadow mode skill right there. Yeah, I could put a damage token on there, but we know all he needs is 1 more, and he was dead. So he's killed, but he does get his final attack. Now we're going to move the enemies in this order: the Abysmal Demon, then the Goblin Warriors, then the Orc Enforcers. So according to Massive Darkness rules, he still can't see us. So we're making a lot of noise, but apparently he can't hear. So he's going toward, he targets the entrance, so he can't attack, and so he will move 2. Again, since he can't see us, he will stop there. Now it's the Goblin Warrior's turn. So the Goblin Warrior is a melee enemy, so they have 2 red die against our 1 blue and 1 green. All right, so let's see how this turns out. Okay, so they do pretty much a lot of damage to us. They do 3 points of damage. We can't block any of it. So remove 3 points of damage here. And now it's the Orc Enforcer's turn. So we'll go ahead and remove the Goblin Warrior from the board. The Orc Enforcers get their turn. Oh, don't forget, we can leave that weapon out there if we want it. Now I don't think I'm actually going to pick up a ranged weapon, but I might. So I'll leave it here in that area. Now it's the Orc Enforcer's turn. They try to attack, they can't. So they move 2, and then they try to attack again. They can see me, even though I'm in shadow mode, I'm in line of sight. So they can move 1 and then attack. So that brings them within range so that they're able to attack. Yeah, they have 2 yellow, 1 red, and then their extra weapon that they're carrying is 2 red. So 3 red, 2 yellow. Ooh, not good. All right, and for defense, we only have 1 blue and 1 green. So let's roll and see what we get. Okay, so they do 1 point of automatic damage. We only have 1 shield. We unfortunately don't do any damage to them. That shield and that sword cancel out. So they do a total of 3, 4, 5, 6 damage to us. Whoa, that was really close because I only have 7 health. So -6 leaves us at 1 point of health. Fortunately, the enemy phase is over, and there are enemies on the board, so no more enemies are going to be spawned. And also, fortunately, we're in a pretty good spot to get to the healing place and not be attacked by the enemy, so it's kind of like a hide-and-seek type of thing. So since it's the hero's turn, I'm going to go ahead and use Zap. I also need to move 1 because the Zap can be used at range 0 and 2, so I can use that now. Then I will do move 1 over here and attack them, and then I'll use my other action to move in here so I can hide and heal. All right, so let's try the Zap and hope for 2 swords this time. 1, but that's good. The good thing is that Orc Enforcers only, oh, actually they have 4 health. I was mistaken. They have 4 health. So that's only 1 point of damage. So I'll put that on the card. So we've got a lot more damage to do. So I'm going to move this hero, move him 1. Which way does he face? Yeah, he faces that way. So I will move 1 and let him attack now. I could have stayed in melee range, but we can't attack the same hero twice. So that's why I want to exchange for the other magic weapon, exchange back. And now I've got 2 yellow and 2 red to attack against their 1 green defense. Okay, so let's hope for a good roll here. All right, oh, they are on defense. They do a 2 points automatic damage. And guess what, folks? That's the end. I forgot all about that. And so there you go. We have lost there. So there we go. Our hero is dead. We haven't even gotten the first artifact and we've lost the game here. Well, that just shows that you have to be kind of thinking because the game can switch pretty quickly. So what I will decide to do, just so that everybody can see the game a little bit further, progress a little bit further, I will admit that I lost that game and now pick it up as if I had made a wiser decision. And let's see what would have happened there. Instead of trying to attack the orcs, I realize that I am low on health, and so I will just run immediately to the healing place. So I will still allow the 1 damage here because I used a Zap to do that, and a Zap doesn't really have a counterattack. So so he will have done his Zap, and then instead of attacking, he will just move in here and just try to play it safe. Now the other advantage of that is that I took the Zap doesn't count as an action. So I just moved in here with 1 action, 1, 2 points, and then I have another action so I can roll a red die in this turn. So let's see if we were able to heal any. Okay, we rolled the red die. Oh, good. We rolled a die, so we go to full health. So with 1 roll of the die, it makes a radical difference in the outcome of the game. Now, if you want to vary it so that the diamond or the BAM give lesser amounts of healing, you can do that. But the reason that I did it this way is so that I didn't spend a bunch of time just trying to gain some health back. Okay, so we'll put him all the way back up to full health of 10. And if you haven't watched the video that talks about the instructions or the rules differences here, notice that he is able to escape a zone that he's in. There is no limitation about you having to stay in the same zone as an attacker. And I think that's mitigated by the fact that the enemy always can move the same as the hero does, and that they always get their second attack. Or rather, they're kind of a counterattack even if you've killed them. Okay, so that concludes the hero phase. Now let's move to the enemy phase. We will use the Abysmal Demon first, and he will move 2 because, again, he can't see us. He'll turn around and now start heading toward the exit if he doesn't see us. The Orc Enforcers will go next. They will target, again, using Massive Darkness rules, they're targeting the start. So they'll try to attack. They can't see me. They can't attack. So they move 2. They will actually move past me because they don't actually check at every zone. They only check when they start. And then, so they've moved 2. They'll try to attack again, but they can't. They can't see me, so they stop their movement there, and that's where they will end their turn. There are no event cards to draw, so now it's again the hero's turn. I can come out and try to attack them if I want, or I can just run in here and get the artifact. So that's up to how you like to play the game. I'm going to go ahead and try to accomplish the goal of the scenario and just move in here to get the artifacts. So I'm going to move 1, 2 for my first action, and then the second one I'll move in and I gain the first artifact, and so we'll just put that to the side. And now we go straight to the enemy phase. The Abysmal Demon will move 2, again because I'm in a shadow zone, and then the Orc Enforcers will move 2 toward the start. The Abysmal Demon is moving toward the exit. Now it's the hero's turn, and so that allows quite a bit of movement, and it happens very quickly. So I'm going to move over here and pick up this treasure. So I'll move 1 and pick it up. I'm hoping it's one of those special weapons, and it is. It's a special treasure. So here we get to level up one of our weapons. Okay, so for leveling up, we can either, since I only have 1 special treasure, level up one hand of my weapons, or I can level up the armor. I could save that treasure till I get 2 and level up to get a 2-handed weapon, but I've typically found that 2 single-handed weapons is better, especially with the simplified rules. Now, since the bands and diamonds actually are unblockable, that's where I've taken some of the damage. I could level up my armor, but I think I'm going to go ahead and level up one of these weapons to try to do more damage to the enemy. I've already made 1 bad decision, so that might be a bad decision as well, but that's what we're going to do. So to level up the treasures, what we'll do is I've decided on the kind of treasure or weapon that I'm looking for in the dungeon. And so I'm looking for a one-handed magic weapon. So I just take the treasure deck, and we will level up with the special treasure. You level up 2 levels. So we're playing at level 3, so we will level up to 5. And I flip it over till I find a single-handed magic. Oh, and there we go. The very first one is a single-handed magic weapon, and that's what I will replace my current weapon with. So that gives me 2 yellow and 1 red. That's better than 1 yellow and a red. Not huge amount, so maybe I should have done the armor, but it's done. Now I could keep this over here in my backpack, but there's really no reason to keep it because I would always choose this one as opposed to the other one. Okay, so the question is, what should I do for my second action? I'm going to go ahead and put the treasure up since I've already gotten that one. So I could try to come over here. Obviously, I need to get the artifacts. I know that the Abysmal Demon is coming this way. He will take this path. It's the shorter path. The Orc Enforcers are going to move away. So what I think I'm going to do is I'm just going to come over here 1, 2. I can't actually pick this up yet, but I'll move into that place, and I will stay in the shadow zone so that I can't be targeted. And, that's about the most I could do. Now it's the enemy phase, and so basically the enemies will swap places. The Abysmal Demon will move 2, the Orc Enforcers will move 2, they're just going in the opposite directions. Okay, so now what am I going to do on my turn? Could do any number of things. I could just come in here and wait for the monster to go past, but it's going to take him a couple of turns because I'm going to try to stay in the shadow zones. I could come down here, 1, 2, and then attack him, but that wouldn't be very good because I'm in line of sight, so he would come after me. So what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to try to come up here and get some of these treasure that are lying in the hall right now. So here we go. I will go 1, 2 for my first action, and then 1, 2, and pick this up. You can't quite see. Sorry about that since I'm over here. Ooh. Sorry, the position of the camera wasn't in a great angle. So I've come over here. I'm going to pick up this treasure and hope it is not a trap. Ah, good. It is a special weapon, so we can upgrade something. And I think I'll upgrade the armor this time. Great. So I've upgraded to plate armor. And so we will just exchange for that. And it allows me to have a defense plus 2 shields, which is great. So that ends my turn. Now it's the enemy phase. The Abysmal Demon will move. 1, 2. Since I'm in a shadow zone, he will stop there because I'm not in line of sight. And the Orc Enforcers, they will move 2 as well. And that ends the enemy phase. Okay, so now that's put me in a little bit of a difficult situation because when this demon moves, he's going to be able to move into here. And so he's going to have line of sight all the way here. So what I will do at this point in time is I'm going to go 1, 2. I'm not going to pick up this treasure, but I'm going to move 1. And then I'm going to go ahead and pick up the javelin here. That gives me a range weapon with 2 red die. Actually, as I think about it, that's not such a good idea because this demon is going to move 1, 2, 1, 2. Well, that's not too bad because he can't attack me. Let's see, then that would mean on my next turn I could move 1, 2, and then shoot range, but then he can get me. I could go back in this area here. Do I need the range weapon? I don't know. Let's see, what should I do? Yeah, I'm not going to pick that up, actually. I'm going to leave it here and actually move 1 further back. And the reason is, if I pay attention to what the demon has, he's got a javelin that he can use at melee at range 0 or 1. So when he moves, if he were here, he could have gotten me. So I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to leave it here and move 1 back. So now it's the enemy phase. So he will move 1, 2, and now he can see me. I am in line of sight, so he will move toward me. So if I were here, he would move 1, and then he could attack me at range 1. But he can't attack me at range 2, so he will go ahead and move 1 closer. And so that's all that he can do right now. The Orc Enforcers, they will turn around and they will go 1, 2. I'm in a shadow zone, so they will just stay there. So what I will do is I will use Zap, and then I will attack and then move over here. After I've attacked, I will be in a shadow zone. I won't be in line of sight, so the demon will come back towards the start. Okay, so let's roll the Zap and hope we get 2 swords. We get 1. So that's 1 point of damage, and he's got a total of 4 health. So now we will roll our attack. We have 2 red and 3 yellow against his 2 green. All right, so we have 1 automatic wound. That's good. And then they've got 2 shields, total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 swords. So I do 5 damage against the demon, enough to kill him. So we'll go ahead and lay down that demon right there, and he is dead. So don't forget, though, he can still attack. He gets his last attack. So as long as I'm in sight, I'm in trouble. So I need to, on my second action, move away. I don't want to move into a light zone, so I need to move all the way over here to the shadow zone so that he can't see me. Okay, so now it's the enemy phase. So the demon will move. He cannot see me, so he moves 2 spaces our zones toward the start, and he will drop his weapon there. So we'll remove him from the board. So this is the Spear of Impalement. I'll never use that one because I've got better weapons, so I'm just going to remove that. And then the Orc Enforcers get to go their turn, and they will move 2. Again, there's at least one enemy on the board, so I won't use the event cards. Okay, so for my next turn, I'm going to open the door for 1, and 1, 2, 3, so that's a little bit too far away. And now I will try to attack. So I'll take my second movement of that first action. I will do the zap, and then I will attack from the shadow zone using magic. So here we try the zap. We do 1 point of damage. That brings the Orc Enforcer minion to half health. And so now we will attack. So that's 3 yellow and 2 red against 1 green. Okay, and so they don't have a good roll, so that's good. They don't do any damage to us. We have 2 unblockable, so that's 2, 5, 6, 7, and then 1 shield, so 6 points of damage. So the Orc Enforcers both each have 4 health. We've already done 2 points of damage against the minion, and unlike regular Massive Darkness, we don't have to use 2 separate attacks in order to hit the boss. We just total up everything, and so there was 4 for the boss and 2 left on the minion, so that's a total of 6, and so we're able to kill, just barely kill, the Orc Enforcers. So the Orc Enforcers are killed. I will remove the minion from the board. Turn this guy on the side just so we know. But it is the enemy's turn now, and so they can move. They are melee, so they will move 1, 2, and they're able to attack. So the Orc Enforcers have 3 red and 2 yellow, pretty nasty. And we have 1 blue and 2 green, but our plate armor has a defense of 2 extra shields as well. So here we go and see how that goes. Fortunately, they don't have any BAMs or diamonds, so there's no unblockable damage. We've got 1 BAM, but they're already dead, so that doesn't matter. 1, 2, 3, 4 swords, and we have 3 shields, 4, 5 shields, so we totally block their attack. So we'll remove them, and they drop their weapon, which is an ice axe. Now it's only 2 red, but it is melee, and that's better than the melee that I have, so I might pick that up. Now we have killed the last enemy on the board, so we do draw an event card. So it's a Shadow Blessing. Heroes in the Shadow Zone may heal 1. We don't have any damage, so that's no good for us, but at least no enemies on the board. So one thing to point out right now is that we are on what's the normal mode, which is 10 health points max. And so there is quite a bit of movement, a cat and mouse type of thing. If you bump up your total health or full health higher, then you can play more straight through the scenario if you just want to have more of the enjoy the experience type of play. Okay, so for the rest of the scenario, I'm going to be more adventurous. I might lose the second time, but let's go ahead and move forward. I'm going to go ahead and pick up this weapon as a melee. It's a 2 red, and then that's my first point, and second point for that first action, and then move 2 more for that turn. Now, there are no more enemies, so we again draw a event card. Okay, so Lightbringer's Protector, again, not anything that we really need, but it does prevent another enemy from coming out, so there we go. Okay, now it's our turn, so for our first movement point in our first action, we will open the door and draw a door card. Bummer, another ambush card. So we will spawn a guard in our current zone and 1 in the very final zone. So it turns out that we draw Goblin Warriors in the ambush, and they will have an Ice Mace, which is 2 yellow melee. And then we also drew the Orc Flayers right here in the last zone, and they drew the Orb of Dark Light, which is 3 magic. So that was our first movement point to open that door. So I'm going to use the second movement point to move away. And so that's my first action. The second action that I will do is I will attack, but I will move 1, and then attack. I'll do the zap first and then attack. So here we go for the zap. And as typical, 1 damage. So we have 3 yellow and 2 red against 3 blue. Alright, so they do 1 point of automatic unblockable damage against us. We are in a shadow zone, so we do 1 point of unblockable damage automatically to them, so that kills the minion. Then we count up the swords, 1, 2, 3, 4 swords against 3 shields. So we don't quite defeat the Goblin warriors. They have 1 point of damage left. So I have moved as far out of range as I can, but now it's the Goblin warriors' turn. It's the enemy phase, and then after that the Orc flayers will move. So the Goblin warriors move 2, and then they attack. They have 2 red and 2 yellow against 1 blue and 2 green, but I've also got the 2 extra shields. Okay, so they do 1 point of unblockable damage against us, but we also do 1 point of unblockable damage against them and kill them. Now, since this is part of their attack, they will be taken off the board this time. They don't get an extra attack since I've killed them right here. Now we count up the swords, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 swords against 1, 2, 3, 4 shields, so they do 1 more point of damage against us. So I think I haven't forgotten to do anything, but they've done 2 points of damage. I don't think that I've already done the unblockable damage, but that's one of the problems with this, with Master Darkness, is just keeping track of everything. But that's where I think we are right now. So the Goblin warrior is defeated. They would drop the Ice Mace, but I'm not going to pick that up, so I'm not going to place it down there. So now it's the Orc Flayer's turn. They will try to attack. They can't. They move 2, and since we're in the shadow zone, they can't see us, and so they stop there. Okay, on my turn, I'm going to open this door and come get the artifact. So for movement point number 1, I open the door. Number 2, I come in. Then for my second action, I pick up the artifact. I'll just put it to the side, and then I will move out for my final action. Now it's the Orc Flayer's turn. They cannot target me right now, so they will try to attack. They can't, and they will move 2. Now, we don't check on every zone, so they actually move past me. I'm in that shadow zone, so they didn't see me hiding in the shadows. They still don't see me, so they will stop there. Okay, now I just happened to notice that one of the treasures I put into a room that's not reachable, so I'm just going to move it into the hall, into the place that is reachable. So now I'm going to go and try to get that final artifact. I'm not going to try to pick up any of the other treasures, even though they could be useful to me. I'm down to about half health, but I'm just going to go ahead and push my luck. So it's my hero's turn now, so I will move 1, 2. I could open the door, but I couldn't, don't have too much to attack. Do I want to open the door? I'm going to hope it's not an ambush, so I will go ahead and I could open the door, but I think I'll actually try to go pick up a treasure. So I'll go here 1 and then pick up that treasure. Good, it allows me to get some more health. All right, regular treasures are worth 2, so I'll upgrade my health by 2. The Orc Enforcers still cannot see me. I'm not in line of sight, and I am in a shadow zone, so they move 2 toward the start. I think I will now go and pick up this other treasure. I could come down here and come in this door, but I'll just go ahead here. I'll move 1, pick up that treasure. It's a trap. So I lose 2 points of health. Bummer. Okay, I'm going to push it anyway, so I will just go ahead. Let's see, Yep, I'll go ahead and open the door and hope it's not an ambush, and we'll draw a door card. Now, I wasn't thinking very much because since most of these rooms that I'm entering are 3-zone rooms, it's quite frequently that I can get 2 enemies, but thankfully this one just has 1 in the middle. So in this case, I drew Goblin Archers, and they have a battle axe. So I believe that I have 1 more point of movement, but that's not going to help me. I actually need 2 to move far enough away that they can't see me. So I will just stay there, and now it'll be the enemy's turn. Since I am in a shadow zone, the Orc Flayers can't see me, and so they will just move toward the start. They're kind of out of the picture. The Goblin Archers, they have range and melee attack. For the range, they only have 2 yellow and 1 red, so they will move in close to get a melee attack because that's 2 red and 1 yellow. So they will move 1, 2 towards me, and they will attack with their melee. So they have 2 red and 1 yellow against my 2 green and 1 blue. And again, I've got the 2 extra shields, so let's see how that goes. So it's just started to get dark, so hopefully the light makes it a little bit better. They have 1 BAM, so that's 1 point of unblockable damage. I'll go ahead and assign that to myself right there. And we've got a diamond, so that's 2 points of unblockable, and a BAM, 3 points of unblockable. And since the archers just take 1 health, they have 1 health, all 3 archers are defeated. So let's just see how much they have left. Let's count up the swords. 1, 2, 3, 4 swords, but we've got more than 4 shields, so they don't do any more damage to us. So they are all defeated. Since they have a battle axe and I've got better weapons than that, I won't put that down because I wouldn't pick it up. Now, we probably haven't seen them in a while, but the Orc Flayers are still on the board, so we don't draw an event card. Now, I probably should have actually moved in to the room. I still would have had to do the battle, but I would have been closer to picking up the artifact. But I didn't, so it's the hero turn now. So I will move in 1, 2, and pick up this as for my next action. So 1 and then 2 back here. So I get 2 points of health. So let's upgrade the health here to 7. Okay, so now it's the enemy's turn. They try to attack, they cannot, so they move 2. Now, I am in a light zone, so they are able to know that I'm here, and so they move 2 more, closer. But of course, they can't attack me. Okay, so the first thing that I'm going to do is pick up the artifact. And when I do that, I get an artifact, but I also have to spawn 2 roaming monsters. Ooh. So the artifact I get is the Barbarian's Helmet, so the hero takes half damage from melee attack, rounded up, and I get +1 melee action. So according to the scenario, we will spawn a roaming monster at this layer and then at that layer. So we'll start with this one first. Oh boy, the giant spider, and they have fortunately the Staff of Defense, which doesn't do them any good. There's that wonderful spider, my wife's favorite monster. And we spawn, I think it's a Lilark, I'm not sure exactly how to pronounce that. And what was the weapon? The Great Sword. The Great Sword is 3 yellow, but fortunately Lilark has 3 yellow, and so she's limited there, but we'll spawn her right there. Now that was just my first movement point of my first action. Now I'm just going to try to escape. Let's see, unless I want to, the giant spider. I'm not going to try to attack him, just to try to bring the scenario to a close. So I will do a zap though. So let's see how the zap goes. Oh, it hopped out. There's 1 sword. Okay, so 1 damage. So I do think that I could probably kill the spider, come very close to it, because they only have 2 green and 1 blue, so I probably could kill them, but they would get their attack anyway. I would not be able to make as much progress, so I'm just going to try to go towards the exit. Okay, so that was 1, 2, 3, and then 4 right there. So that ends my turn. We now move with the Orc Flayers. They will move 2. I am in a shadow zone, so they stop there. Same thing for Lilark. She moves 2. I guess she should actually be going towards the entrance because she cannot target me. That's according to Massive Darkness rules. 1, 2. So she moves a little bit further away. The spider, I am in a line of sight for the spider. So the spider will just face me, and the spider does have range, so it will try to attack me. Unique BAM, if you're doing range, to stun and place the target in the giant spider zone. So you could decide to use that if you want, but I'm going to play with the basic rules that I've explained. Okay, so it's 2 red against 1 blue, 2 green, and again the 2 special shields. Okay, so they do 2 points of unblockable damage. We'll go ahead and mark that off right now. We also do 2 points of unblockable damage to the spider. So perhaps if I had attacked the spider, that might have been a good thing. But in any case, let's count up the swords. 1, 2, 3, 4 swords against 6 shields. So they don't do any more damage. The spider doesn't do any more damage to me. So now it's the hero's turn. And you can see 1, 2, 3, 4. So I can actually reach the exit this turn, no matter what happens with the door cards. But just to see what would happen, so I move 1, 2, I open the door, and let's see what the door card has. So according to the door card, we would spawn 1 enemy here in the first room, and that happens to be the dwarf defenders. But I still have 1 action left, which gives me 2 movement points, 1, 2, and I've completed the scenario. So in the end, we're down to 5 health. You can tweak the rules how you'd like, and I just hope that that's been enjoyable to watch and you've learned how this might work. I found it really fun. I enjoy it. Like I said, trying to get movement through and move fairly quickly, even with a single hero. So that's Massive Darkness, the simplified rules for the true solo variant. Hope you enjoyed it and enjoy playing Massive Darkness.